I just found one of the best evidence-based breakdowns of narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder, and I think we need to talk about it. Specifically, I think we need to talk about a few important points that were in here, like this one, that the disorder, narcissism, is found in 1 to 2% of the general population, but 1.3% to 20% of the clinical population and 8.5% to 20% of the outpatient private practice population. That means millions of these types of individuals exist out there in the world, despite what the people in my comments try to say, silencing victims every other day. What's also really interesting is that this evidence-based research also focuses on the comorbidity factor, which I yell at you guys all the time about. Pause to read if you need to. Which is basically another one of those things I scream at you guys all the time, right? If someone is high in narcissistic traits, if they are someone who really has narcissistic personality disorder, there's also a very high likelihood that they have some other kind of disorder, like a mood disorder. And it's also right here in black and white that people high in narcissistic traits, true narcissists, are also more harmful to people and have a lower quality of life. But what I loved so much about this study is that it acknowledged the co-occurrence of both grandiose and vulnerable narcissism. In fact, it goes on to explain that basically people with grandiose narcissistic traits are actually more likely to show those vulnerable narcissistic traits. But the biggest thing that I really want all of you to take away is this right here, this little passage in this evidence-backed research. Studies have identified mechanisms in domains such as self-esteem dysregulation, emotion dysregulation, cognitive style, interpersonal relations, and empathy, and possible developmental and temperamental antecedents of the disorder. Thus, it appears that NPD has a multifactorial etiology and pathogenesis with numerous mechanisms associated with each area of dysfunction. What does that mean in the simplest term? It's that other thing that I scream at you guys all the time, which is that narcissism is extremely complex. There are multiple different facets to this disorder, and it doesn't all just come from one place, which means those in the comments who say, it's a traumagenic disorder, all narcissists are formed from trauma. No, you're wrong. Can trauma be an environmental element of narcissism? Yes, absolutely it can. But there are so many other factors at play, including the very development and function of that narcissist's physical brain tissues and features. This study is great, and it is so overarching, and it even lays out very clear, very practical ways to diagnose the disorder, which do depart a little bit from the normal DSM-5, do you meet 5 of the check boxes criteria. But what's really important about it is that this single-handedly dispels so many of the myths that you find here on TikTok and other social media platforms when we're talking about narcissism. And that is the myth that it is a completely rare thing that you would not be likely to encounter. Wrong. That narcissists aren't inherently harmful to anyone but themselves. It's here in black and white, folks. And most importantly, this ridiculous idea that all narcissists are victims who have just been harmed and forged into the abusers they are by the fire of trauma. Not exactly. So do yourself a favor, go and read this study and let me know what you think in the comments. Follow for more.